Hey everyone, welcome back to Crew the Row. In this Patreon request, we're going to be going over how to open an inventory and actually stop your character from moving and have your mouse cursor show up. So for example, when I go ahead and click I, you'll see my mouse is now visible. I can't use WASD to move my character. Whereas normally without it, you'd be able to move and your mouse wouldn't show up and it's just an inventory showing. But we don't want that. It would be very odd and very hard to manage your inventory. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I need to do is actually just head over to my BP HUD where we created our inventory. So over here on begin play, we set our widget inventory to the variable inventory, and then we open it up using this HUD event dispatcher that we created. So from pretty much as soon as our inventory is open, I just want to make sure that we can actually show our mouse cursor. And in order to do that, I actually want it to come from the player controller. So I'm going to right click and look for get player controller. And then from the return value, I'm actually going to just drag this out and look for show mouse cursor. And make sure you get the set show mouse cursor. I accidentally did the get, so can't really modify it from there. And then I'm going to duplicate it. Same thing down here. We basically just want to enable or disable the mouse once we finish looking at our inventory. And then over here, I just want to set show mouse cursor to true, because when our inventory is open, we should be able to manipulate it. And now you want to get your input setup data from wherever you put it. So for example, I'm going to drag out, and we did set up the player input on our player controller because I am working on a multiplayer demo. So when I go ahead and go to my player controller class, double click on this to open this up, you'll see that the Ninja input manager is here. And I just want to get these input handlers that I have set up from this BP HUD. So I'm going to drag out the get player controller and look for get input manager component. And just like that, I want to go ahead and look for the remove input setup data. And I'll go ahead and tag this. And I actually want to remove two of them because the default third person blueprint has the mouse look different from the default WASD. And the mouse look is when you use your mouse to actually look around and rotate the camera and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the mouse look and the default. And then I also want to drag this out again and look for add input setup data. And I'm just going to add both of these back as soon as we're done with the inventory. So I'll go ahead and re-add the default one and then re-add the mouse look. Just make sure all these pins are connected like so. Make sure the get input manager component is connected to all the targets. And this looks great to me. And this is pretty much all we need. And now we'll be able to, if you wanted to make some modifications on your UI itself from here, you would go ahead and create another IMC default, which is going to be your input system of the UI itself. So let's go ahead and check mine out. So I have this IMC UI, which I have interact here for some reason, and it really should be on my player, but I have the open inventory tab here, which is going to be able to give us control to open the inventory itself and close the inventory. And I want to be able to do that while I'm looking at my inventory. If I were to have this open inventory and close inventory on another one, then that would be disabled and I would be stuck. So you want to kind of make sure this IMC UI is default with just things you're able to do while you're in the UI. So again, yeah, I do need to move my IA interact from there. And then I just go ahead and create this input system from Ninja, the Ninja input setup data asset, to add to our input manager component in our player controller to add to this array. And now we can manipulate it. We can turn it on and off really easily. And I have that input handler and I have that HUD event tag, which is going to allow us to open the inventory from our BP HUD. Right here, UI action open inventory. As we can see over here, UI action open inventory. And then it's going to call this input action. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. There are quite a few steps, but once you get this, it's really a breeze to get through. So this is pretty much all you really need. And now when I go ahead and test this out, I can run around, blah, 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 jump, jump, jump. And then when I click I, now my mouse shows up and I can't use WASD or space or anything to move around. That's shown over in my input assets or in my input setup. So now when I go ahead and let me go ahead and just remove one just to show you what it's look like if you don't, let's say for example, do the mouse look. So let's remove the mouse look just to get a little visibility on what it looks like. So let's say these two were not here and I am able to look at my mouse now. or use my mouse look, and this never got disabled or enabled. So when I go ahead and use my inventory and click I, you can see my mouse shows up, but I can actually move my camera around, and it is awkward. I can't use WASD to run around though, which is great. But yeah, I don't really want to look around that much while my inventory's up. But yeah, pretty much overall, that's how you get your character to stop moving using the Ninja input system. Thanks for watching Curse the Road. Like, subscribe, comment, what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video.